Well, we're talking about Virat Kohli's 100 test match. And when you talk about 100 test match in the highest format of the game, very few Indian cricketers have made it. To be precise, 11 cricket. He would be the 11th cricketer, if I'm not wrong.
Hello everyone, welcome to Straight Bat with Gulf News and Mr. Cricket UAE, that is Anis Sarjan. We are here to discuss Virat Kohli's 100 test, which is against Sri Lanka. So on the eve of that, we would look back at his career and his milestones in his career, as well as what the future holds for him. And with Anis Sarjan, I have Sahil Sarjan, a cricket enthusiast, and the sports editor of Gulf News, that is Satish. Welcome, guys. And before I dive into it, let's hear it from Anis Sarjan on what he thinks of Kohli's career so far and what it'll take him ahead.
Thank you, Sham. Hello, Satish. Hello, Sahil. And hello to all the beautiful people of Gulf News. Well, we're talking about Virat Kohli's 100 test match. And when you talk about 100 test match in the highest format of the game, very few Indian cricketers have made it. To be precise, 11 cricket. He would be the 11th cricketer, if I'm not wrong. And playing a 100 test match at Mohali, which is also an iconic cricket ground, is going to be very, very special. And now that the BCCI have allowed 50% of the crowd to see, it's going to be a treat for all the fans, all the spectators, and all the people watching on TV to watch their favorite cricketer, Virat Kohli, going onto the field and playing his 100 test match.
Satish, what are your thoughts on Virat Kohli at this time? It's 100 is actually a century of test matches. What are your thoughts exactly?
Cham, just to trace back his career as a under-19 captain to how he came in as a young kid, and now he's playing his 100th test. It's like I think we in this generation we are quite. I think we saw Sachin Tendulkar, then we are seeing Virat Kohli. So I think we are all blessed in that way to see some of the best in the business to come in this era and in this generations of like where we can watch them. Coming to Virat Kohli, I think that says a lot about his tenacity and his passion to play. And moreover, it and average display playing a 100th test match, which is pretty good. In my opinion, that I think that itself says a lot about his character and his of course his game as well as a player.
Sahil, what is your best memory of Virat Kohli?
In Test cricket, like he came, I think, in 2011 in the Test format, and he started obviously slow, but I remember his best memory. I think we can never forget that 2014 when India went to Australia, even though we lost that series, but there was that different Virat Kohli coming with fire against Mitchell Johnson and co. Even though India may have lost that series, but I think that guy had scored 4-5 centuries in that series, which is not a joke. And that contest between him and Mitchell Johnson was one of the most memorable things in his Test career. Like, it was a wonderful thing to watch.
Okay, let me get back to Anis on that. Anis, Virat Kohli is certainly the best batsman going around, although there are other claimants like Joe Root and Kane Williamson and off late Babar Azam. So where do you think Kohli stands among the top four? Is he the best?
I'll be very honest, Sham. I'm glad you asked me this question. You know, when you compare him to the likes of Steve Smith, Joe Root, Babar Azam of late, or Kane Williamson, he definitely, for me, he is right on top. Not because I'm an Indian, I'm talking on this in his favor, but the way Virat Kohli has, played and taken test level to a different, absolutely different aura. His aggressive cricket style of batting and the temperament what Virat Kohli has and the fitness, with due respect to Steve Smith, Joe Root, Kane Williamson and Babar Azam, I believe is way, way, way ahead. And I believe in spite of the lull for his standards where he's not even able to get his 71st 100 or 28 test 100 for a long time, I think it's finally due. And I believe come 5th March, if India bat first or whether India bat second, the 100 test match is there for the offering.
It's a good thought to have, especially in the eve of a test match. Satish, okay, again, let me hark back to the early days or the best period of Virat Kohli when he was often compared to Sachin Tendulkar. Yeah, how does he, I mean, when you compare with Sachin Tendulkar, where does he stand? Is he on par? Is he just below, or is he better than him?
Sharma, one thing I would like to know, like say it is, yes, it's very difficult to compare players of two generations because the quality of bowling and many things that comes into play. But certainly in this generation, I would, because when Sachin played, there were again claimants like Lara, Steve Waugh. You have many players like Sachin who were also there. But again, the bowling was also a different league at that point of time. But what Kohli stood out between Sachin and the Kohli, if I have to ask, say one difference, that should be the attitude. Whereas Sachin had nothing short of what Kohli had in terms of the spirit or the fighting spirit, you can call it, where like still those two centuries in Sharjah says a lot. The Desert Storm says, but still, what Kohli did was he wore it on his sleeve and ensured that it is passed on to others and it became infectious, so that it is not just him alone who is playing that aggressive brand of cricket. Even the others followed him so too. So I would say that's the big difference Kohli has done in terms of other than Sachin. And again, as a captain, Sachin has failed, but as a captain, Kohli has prospered. Not even no survived. He prospered and started producing better results. So these are the two significant differences I would see between them. In terms of technique, both have almost same. They could play any attack, any wicket. They all had everything. But this is what I would say the difference between these two.
Sahil, I have a completely different take here on the Virat Kohli, the competitive cricketer. He's perhaps the most aggressive cricketer we had. So, how do you see that aggression? Is it over the top? Is it just right, or is it? How do you look at it?
Good question. It depends, it depends. But this is how a captain has to be. He's got to lead from the front. He's got to push his players. If he's not going to be aggressive and he's just going to stand in the side and be lethargic, that's not going to happen. He's got to be aggressive. And he was a great captain in Test cricket. And it's a 90-over format. And he's always there from the first over till the 90th. He's always charged up and he's pushing his players and being aggressive. So I think it's a perfect thing for him and it suits his character. And he's done his job as a captain. Now he's just a free bird who's going to be in the starting 11 and he has nothing to lose now.
And I will put the same question to you simply because Virat Kohli, despite being one of the best in the world or perhaps the best batsman in the world, he's the divisive character when it comes to fans. Also, some people like his aggression, some people don't like his aggression. What do you think about him as a competitor, as a fiery competitor?
It's sort of all about how you look at it. Being an Indian, I probably would like it more. Not that all Indians like his aggressiveness, but the reason what, like Sahil mentioned, a very valid point in Test cricket, to maintain that intensity for 90 overs is not easy. And he maintains it for all 5 days, whether he's batting, whether he's fielding. Obviously, he doesn't bowl in Test cricket, but that intensity rubs on all the players. So when you have that aggressiveness and when you are into the face of the opposition, it gives the other players the comfort that no, we have a captain who's leading from the front and is backing us to the core. And that is why I like him as a captain, as who's aggressive. Now, like we mentioned about KL Rahul, I'm just giving an example of KL Rahul because when KL Rahul captained India in his absence in the second test match, we saw that the match was in our grasp, but not because of KL Rahul we lost, but how the players were quiet in the shell. There was no energy. It felt like they had gone to sleep. So that's what I'm trying to bring it to my notice of all our listeners, that when Virat Kohli captains, things tend to happen. As they say that Virat Kohli is the captain, not only does this batting does the talking, but his captainship does the talking. And that is why he's the best ever captain India has produced in the red ball cricket.
Yeah, even the stats bear that out, and we can argue with that argument there. And Satish, what's Virat Kohli has really changed the face of Indian cricket as a captain. He's changed the fitness. He even his approach was aggressive with his 5-baller thing. So how do you rate his captaincy, Satish?
I think his captaincy is not just for this current launch, Sham, even the years to come. I think that has set a very, very good platform for the future of Indian cricket, because the yo-yo test or the time trial test, these were not mandatory. I still feel a lot of players would have played for India even now, but he made sure that the fitness, without fitness, you can't perform at that level. So you can't take the excess baggage. They might be supremely talented cricketers, but unless you have that fitness to carry the entire day, as Sahil says, 90 overs is not easy. And then to carry that intensity, you need a lot of fitness. So I think the biggest service that Kohli has done is, I would say that to believe in their own skills, that self-belief is motivated, or rather he has created a culture in where everybody believes in their skills. And then second is the fitness, which should help the entire cricket future of Indian cricket, basically.
Sahil, I'll quickly come back to Sadish is having some lighting issues there, so I'll quickly come to Sahil here. So, Sahil, the biggest talking point of late has been Kohli's slump in form. I have always held that it is not a slump in form. It's simply that Kohli is not performing to Kohli's standards. But he's, as a test cricketer, he still holds his own. How do you look at his slump in form? Because he's not had surgery in nearly 2 years. Right?
Yeah, I can. Yes, we can all say that. Yes, he's not had a century in 2 years, but nah, I think the guy is fine. There's no slump in form. He does, yes, that 100 mark he's not able to reach. Unfortunately, since the 2019 World Cup, which happened in England, he's not got that century still now from there. But you always see that he does those its and pieces. He does that 60s and 70s. There's no one else to help him sometimes. And I think the guy will be fine. And like mentioned, I think in this series against Sri Lanka, that century might come. Hopefully, you never know. But there's no slump.
And he certainly thinks so. And he's 100% sure. So
I've been saying that for the last 6 months. Stop coming. I sincerely hope he finally does it.
Now he'll be only playing as a batter, Anis bhai. So it will come in very soon. And yeah, as like Sahil said, it is just that like he's not lived up to his own standards that he was putting up before. Again, Sham, you have to take into consideration a lot of other things. Like sorry to interrupt and take it forward. But the fact remains that the bowlers are also watching him. There is a lot of replays, and many plans are made, and they look at his weaknesses, they look at his strengths. There is a lot of analysis that goes into the while bowling to a particular batsman. They must have done it in the test, and I think once when Anderson did that, the next series he went back and got some centuries. So that shows how great this batsman is, who can come back with a counter plan when you attack him on the weaknesses. This is one. And second, he is also getting older, Sham. Like, we need to take that into consideration. You can't.
No, I will agree. I will agree with your first part of it. Second part, I won't, because see, he's being a fitness freak. I don't think age is not the problem here, but his technique. I don't think there's any batsman in the current Indian setup who looks at his own batting so well. So, which is why I agree with that part, because
yeah, I think Sham is having some connectivity issues. Yeah. What do you think, anyway? Do you think he's having a...
Because...
Sorry, Sham, your connectivity went off, so I took... Okay, go ahead, Sham, go back.
Yeah, so he's certainly been getting the runs. He's just not been getting the hundreds. He's at the 70s, 80s, that 50s has been coming. And I tend to agree with Anis also here that if that century he's been waiting for 6 months comes, I think once that it's more a mental block really, and once that he passes that, I think runs will flow more freely. So now back to my role as a moderator here. Anis, what do you think of Kohli's future? Because of late he's not been in a best place mentally too, because he quit as captain and he's had this spat with Ganguly, and BCCI has not been kind to him, and we hear all sorts of reports in the media and the grapevine. So where does Kohli go from here?
Honestly, Sham, the best way for him is to silence his critics or his detractors with his bat. And that is by scoring heaps and heaps of runs. at the moment, of course, as you said, he's not in his right mental space, and he's probably more anxious when he comes to bat and tries to go for shots far too early than he used to be in test matches. Even in ODIs, which we saw against the West Indies, that he was trying to be too flashy. Maybe the anxiousness is getting the better of him, but he gets into that mental space where he has his control over his mind. And if his batting does the talking, all things will fall in place, and all these detractors will come back to him that Mr. Kohli, we want you to be captain. Yes, we are all talking about today Rohit Sharma. He's so far done well in the white ball series against Sri Lanka, against West Indies. All looks rosy. But mind you, when the test cricket comes and when it comes abroad, that is why we'll see the temperament of Rohit Sharma. I have nothing against Rohit Sharma. But when you talk about red ball cricket, I dare say we will find it very difficult to find a captain like Virat Kohli. And like you, I'm repeating, if he wants to keep everybody quiet, let his batting do the talking.
I hope that his bat will start talking from the Sri Lankan series onwards, and that's something which we will look forward to. Thanks everybody for joining us, and it's been a pleasure talking to you all. And for more breaking news and updates, please log on to gulfnews.com and our social media channels. Thank you so much.